Hi, beautiful people. So, we are here for our third installment of a 7-month journey with the 7 A's of transformation. And month three is our very most favorite accountability. It's okay. I know not many people like accountability. And I think that's because we have kind of a unclear relationship with the word accountability. I think that a lot of people look at that word as meaning something that is external, is judging us or grading us. I think because we come from these structured school systems is actually, I think, where it comes from. This accountability of pass, fail, gold star, F's, right? We kind of live in this good, bad, right, wrong contrast of an experience. And accountability feels like a heavy word. It's one of those words that feels a lot like a lot of responsibility to do the thing you said you would do, right? Which for me is more about integrity than accountability. So, what I want to drop in as we're journeying through this 7 A's of transformation is that first we started with awareness, right? You have to see it to shift it. Period. That's it. End of story. If you can't see it, you can't shift it. It's in the subconscious. You're unaware that it's happening. You're not seeing the patterns that you're wanting to disrupt, right? So we started with awareness and we moved into acceptance. And acceptance is about dropping the fight against what you want it to be, dropping the fight of your expectations, or if it's in the past, your regret, your longing of, I wish I could have done something differently. I wish I would have made a different decision. The acceptance is about dropping that fight. So as we naturally move over into accountability, my version for this practice is simply being willing to stay curious about your part in that pattern, your compliance to continue that pattern, your unaware part of you that is addicted to that pattern. So, for this practice in accountability, it's really about just looking at your part in it. What part did you play? I think what's really important to drop in right there is considering um, if you weren't on the call yesterday for our embodied intention call, I highly recommend that you go watch that because we got into a really beautiful conversation of what it means to be a victim versus perpetrator. Humans have this tendency to prefer victimhood, and I know that's triggering, so I'm going to ask you to just take a big, deep breath right there. But subconsciously, we prefer victimhood over being the perpetrator. And I think that's actually the deep-seated issue we have with the word accountability because it means, oh, I did that. I participated in that. And we prefer being able to blame someone else. And it's a hard place to sit in. I understand there's an aversion to this portion of the game. But accountability is required to move forward. And this isn't about finding out whose fault it is. There's Lucas saying hi. It's not about finding out, oh, they're the fault. They did all of that to me. That's why. Or I did all of that. I'm the bad person. It's not about finding fault. It's not about figuring out who we need to punish. That's more of a human ego, good, bad, right, wrong kind of space. We're looking for just simply, if you were to take the whole experience as a pie chart, what portion is your part? Just your portion. Are you willing to sit in that? And it's uncomfortable AF. This is why people bypass it. This is why we tend to want to get to, well, let me fix the problem. Ooh, that's yucky. How do I fix it? Oh, I don't like that. How do I make this work? We like to skip over accountability. But here's the deal. If you're skipping over one of the steps, all you're doing is bypassing without actually getting the nutritional value of the pattern, the why and the where and the how and the process. You're not getting the weight of that accountability. So all you're going to do is repeat the pattern. That's why we repeat patterns. People generally want to bypass the yucky feeling of accountability, but then we don't realize that's how we're staying stuck in patterns. So, big, deep, beautiful invitation. Take a breath. Consider there's a possibility that even though something happened to you that was terrible, horrific, harmful, traumatic, abusive, is there a part of you that allowed yourself to be in that situation? Is there a part of you that knew you should have left, saw the red flags but ignored them? Maybe there was another option, but we kind of like avoided that. And this is where it gets really tender. I really, really, really need you to hear this. I'm not talking about childhood. I'm not talking about if you were in a situation where you had no say. That's childhood. That's more you are at the mercy of your caregivers. Okay. So we're not talking about childhood. I'm talking about when you actually had the ability to make choices. And this is where it gets really difficult depending on your situation. It can look like you had no choice. I know what it looks like. I've done it. I get it. It can look like they did this to me and I had no power. I understand. And there's so much compassion right there. And can there be a little part of that pie chart that maybe you complied, that you participated in through your actions, through your choices, through your avoidance, through trauma bonding? Like there's a lot of nuance right there. So the reason accountability is so important is if you don't be open to the possibility that you had some say in that, you will always live as if you are in victimhood. So accountability gives you the opportunity, it's a lot of words. Accountability gives you the opportunity to take back your power and own that you didn't exert your power. It isn't all your fault, right? We're not looking for fault, but what part of you did that, chose that, walked into that, allowed that, continued that? And so accountability is more about that space of, I can see how I did that. And that's it. That's the practice. I can see how I did that. Oh my gosh, I did that. Oh, holy crap, I did that. Like it's okay to feel yucky right there. Cat. Okay. He's in there. He's lost. I don't know what he's doing. So it's not about good, bad, right, wrong, who's at fault, who's to blame, who's the perpetrator, who's the victim. It's about noticing your part and being able to sit in that part. And you're going to want to breathe. You're going to want the tendency is to avoid, the tendency is to divert attention and want to distract ourselves and get away from that feeling. So the invitation is when you realize, oh my God, I did that, is to take low belly, slow breaths, to take your time and breathe and go, okay. And then almost as if we're going backwards now, breathe until you get into the acceptance. Because when you get into acceptance, you then understand with your awareness, right? And so we've journeyed this way to accountability, and then you hold it until you can journey backwards. I see how I did that. That makes sense. I can understand why that happened. because then the train moves forward and we end up naturally going into the next stage without effort. I'm just pausing because I understand how hard that space is. It's not pretty. It's one of the hardest things to do on your own to recognize, oh, I did that. But if you can sit with that, even just for a few seconds, what happens from that space leads you to freedom. It leads you to being able to claim your power and own your experience. And that's freedom. That's the ability to have the freedom in your life to choose your experience when you own your part in it. And that's what we're after. We're after the freedom. We're after the flow and the alignment. And the disruption of the pattern is what's keeping us from that. So if you're bypassing accountability, it's 100% why you're stuck in the pattern. I promise you. So sit with that this month. Bring it to the calls. Let's work it out. Let's like reach out for support if you have questions or you feel particularly stuck in the process because it is a difficult space to hold for self. Our instincts is to want to jump from it. So it's okay. But I promise you, if you are willing to sit in it enough to where you can have that acceptance and awareness, then it catapults you to the next stage. So have fun with it. Have fun with it and reach out. I'm here. Our community is here. Bring it to our calls this month and let's get you moving forward. All right. I'll see you around, lovely.